They continue to monitor the evolving and devastating situation out of Kenya.
All right, thanks so much, Kristen Walker, for that update.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go back to the events in Congress, and I'm joined by Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Democrat from California, and Congressman Luke Messer, Republican from Indiana. Thanks to you both for joining me.
Happy to be with you.
I want to start with you, Congressman Messer, because essentially what we're seeing is from the House to the Senate, and we expect it'll come right back to the House. And we believe that the version that comes back to the House will not have the Obamacare piece in it that you guys wanted. So what happens from there?
Well, listen, I think there's two things that you said in the introduction here that I would take a little bit of issue with. One is that the Republican Party's divided. We had over 230 votes for the resolution yesterday, including 2 Democrat votes. And secondly, we're not the ones trying to shut down government. I mean, there is a third way here, and that is for the president to compromise on his health care law. He's already signed 7 bills that change Obamacare. He's delayed the employer mandate in recent months. There's reports now that the exchanges aren't ready. And if the president comes to the table, there's an opportunity to get this done.
Congressman, actually, I feel like I actually think on the House side you are very much all on the same page. I think that where there does seem to be some discord is between the House and the Senate. I've seen some of your colleagues. I've got some sound from Representative Duffy, who was on Morning Joe, who, says he's not so happy with Ted Cruz and feeling like a punching bag.
Well, I think this
all summer long, as these ads have been running, as they've been holding town halls and raising money, we've kept a lid on our anger in the House, as we were the punching bag and bullied by some of these Senate conservatives.
So, I mean, that's where I think there is clearly some discord between the House and the Senate, and it seems like we're just going to be playing a bit of ping pong here.
Well, I think the Senate will now have their opportunity to lead. Certainly, Senator Cruz and others have asked for that opportunity, and then we'll have to respond in the coming days to what comes back from the Senate.
Congresswoman Lee, I mean, in effect, though, I take Congressman Messer's point. However, I disagree in that, in effect, by sending something over to the Senate that we know is not going to come back to the House in the same way. I mean, in effect, this is leading to a showdown about shutting down the government, and if not that, then perhaps we'll have this fight when we get to the debt ceiling. But the thing that strikes me the most is we're talking about Republicans wanting to repeal Obamacare, which is actually already working. I've got some statistics here just looking at children who are covered. And you have children, 81.7% of children are covered in 2008, 87.2% in 2011. So essentially what we're talking about when we talk about repealing Obamacare is taking that away from those children.
First of all, the Affordable Care Act is the law of the land, and the Supreme Court has upheld its constitutionality. What the Republicans are doing is really, quite frankly, holding the Affordable Care Act, i.e. holding the American people who need health care hostage. We have also, in addition to the children with pre-existing conditions who now have access to health care, over 3 million young people can stay on their parents' insurance plans until they're 26. We have over 105 million Americans now who do not face lifetime benefits. We have people who really, come October 1, will be able to enroll in affordable, accessible health care. And so, Karen, this is really a hostage-taking effort of the Republican extremists. This is what they have done over and over and over again. They will not pass legislation to create jobs. All they continue to do is to try to really unravel the Affordable Care Act and once again hurt the majority of the American people who desperately need health insurance.
On that point, Congressman Messer, we've actually also got some numbers specifically looking at people in your district and and you've got 41,000 children in the Indiana 6th District with pre-existing health conditions that can no longer be denied coverage. 231,000 individuals have insurance that where a lifetime limit on their coverage is no longer a problem. I mean, what do you say to those people in your district when you're talking about taking that away from them?
Well, listen, there's two provisions in the law. You guys have focused on the two that are most popular. It's the pre-existing condition language, and also the fact that young people can stay on their parents' health care plans until they're 26. Those are both two good changes, and I've supported legislation that would take a very similar approach to dealing with pre-existing conditions. But there's also been an awful lot of unmet promises with Obamacare. I mean, folks were promised that rates would go down. They've actually gone up. Folks
Actually, that's not true, sir. At this point, it appears
depends on where you are. It depends on where you are in the country.
It does. And for the most part, most of the studies suggest that costs will actually go down. And I guess my question to you is, why not spend the time working with Democrats to improve the bill? We knew all along, like with Social Security, there would need to be improvements made to this bill. So why not do that instead of, again, taking this care away from people in your own district?
Well, listen, again, there have been an awful lot of unmet promises. In Indiana, rates are going up. You talk to people who are losing hours on their job. They're losing their job because of Obamacare as well. And there's outrage where I live and folks that want us to stand up against this law. Now, I will tell you, I've supported repealing Obamacare. I've supported defunding Obamacare. I support delaying Obamacare by a year. The president's done that in major ways already. And I've supported common sense fixes to Obamacare as well. I've supported moving from a 30-hour full-time equivalent to a 40-hour full-time equivalent so people don't lose their job or lose hours on the job. I'm willing to do whatever we can to protect people from the failings in this law.
Congresswoman Lee, I want to switch gears and have a question to you. You know, one of the other crowning achievements we saw this week with the GOP was the vote about SNAP, taking away SNAP provisions for children. The argument that we've heard time and again is waste, fraud, and abuse, and yet we're talking about $40 million, which is going to have a massive impact on families. And yet, you know, if we're looking for places where there are waste, fraud, and abuse, how about Iraq and Afghanistan, or how about canceled weapons programs? What is the obsession with focusing on taking away these programs that we know are effective in actually helping people get out of poverty, rather than saying, hey, let's look for some waste, fraud, and abuse in some other places?
Karen, there's a systematic assault on the most vulnerable in our country. There's a systematic attack on the poor and the working poor. When you look at the fact that the SNAP program really is a safety net, first of all, people still have not found jobs. We have not created enough jobs. The economy is slowly recovering. It's very mean-spirited to say to people that they are not eligible to eat. I mean, come on. We have, here in our own country, our values as Americans say that we're going to protect and support the least of these, and so it's a very mean-spirited approach. It's going to take approximately 26 meals off of the table for a family of 4. This terrible cut could, in my own state, affect 346,000 people. It is wrong. I personally have been on food stamps, unfortunately, during a period of my life when I needed a little bit of help just to get through a very difficult period. The majority of people want to work, and like myself, they want to have a decent job so they can take care of their kids and live the American dream. SNAP helps people do that, and so this was very mean. And as I said on the floor, many people on the other side who voted for this, they're people of faith, and they go to church on Sunday and they pray. Yet here on Thursday, what did they do? They moved to cut and take away food from hungry people.
Well, and it did seem that the Pope would agree with you that that is a bit mean-spirited. Thank you, Congresswoman Barbara Lee and Congressman Luke Messer. Next, is it the Republican Party or